Hi everybody, welcome to Midweek. Today I want to talk about I think it's an interesting topic, unanswered prayer. People say, well, God answers every prayer, and sometimes the prayer is yes, sometimes the prayer is wait, sometimes the prayer is no. I want to talk about the no. And I want to talk about a no that you didn't even know you had. One of my favorite topics all time is the providential nature of God. That God who does things beyond us and around us and before us that we don't know, but he just does because he loves us. I was reflecting the other day with a friend on a conversation that I had with my mom years and years ago. I think that probably tends to happen when somebody you love passes away, and my mom did. You kind of, I don't know, maybe the memory just stirs these stories and conversations he had. I remember I was about 18, and my mom came into me and said, hey, I need to tell you something. I worked for a guy. He was a county agent. I did a lot of things that he taught me, cruising temper and a variety of other things. Probably the biggest gift he gave me was the ethic of work. And he, not a believer, but man, he took real care of me. I didn't know it, but he had gone to my mom at one point in the previous 6 months and told her, when Mark graduates, do not worry about college. I will pay for it all. He never told me, he told my mom. Well, the tragedy of it is he died. We were out cruising temper one Saturday together. I didn't go out on Sunday. I was in church. His wife called me and he hadn't come home. I went out with the police. I knew probably where he was at. I found his truck. We found him, and sure enough, he had a heart attack and he had passed away. That was a real sad moment, not only finding him, but just losing that kind of a mentor. The next year, I went to college and I paid for it and, put all the things together. And my mom, at his point, I think she just wanted me to know what he said, that he would pay for all of the college. Well, when he died, the rest of his family didn't follow through on that. I think they knew about it, but for whatever reason, they didn't follow through on that. At first, you look at that and like, wow, how horrible. You lost a free college education. I did. But I often wonder what would have happened if he would have paid for it. I wonder how indebted I would have felt. I probably would have gone not into education, but into forestry. I might have taken a job that he opened more doors to me than maybe any other person. And I often think back, God, how tragic it is that my friend Stonewall passed away, but how providential that you didn't let him pay for my college. Now, no one would look at that and say, man, it's a great thing to have your college paid for and then not paid for. We'd all look at the economic loss of that. We would look at the opportunity lost. Sometimes when I think back on that story, it's a little bit like unanswered prayer. Now, I didn't pray for that guy to pay for my college, but my mom was praying that I'd find a way to go to college. I was the only one in our whole family that had taken that direction at that time. My mom could not afford a dime for me to go to college, but I know she prayed. And when Stonewall told her that he was going to pay for all of my college, my mom thought, what an answer to prayer. She wanted to know that God had answered that prayer. And then in her sad heart, God took it away. As I look back on it, I think, oh God, how kind of you to take away thousands of dollars. Because my guess is I would have gone a completely different trajectory. Sometimes in your life, you might look at a thing and look at the loss. You might look at the unanswered prayer. You might feel wounded, even let down by God. I hope you get the opportunity to take a step back and say, you know what, God, there's a lot of my prayers that I'm so thankful in your wisdom you didn't answer. There's a lot of my dreams, or a lot of even my mom's prayers that God, maybe you answered some, or you answered them differently, or you just said, no, it's not going to be good. I guess what I would say is I hope you get to come to the point, even in unanswered prayer, that you trust the divine sovereign purposes of God. That sometimes he takes something away and what he's really doing is saving you. Sometimes he removes what looks like an opportunity because he wants to take you in a very different way. I look around my life today and I think, oh God, how good it is and how much you've blessed. And to get me here, he had to take something away. He had to take thousands of dollars. And if you would have known our economic stream back at that time, let me tell you what, those thousands of dollars were huge. And yet how kind God it is. I bet he's doing the same thing in your life. Sometimes he's answering your prayers, sometimes he's saying no, and sometimes he's doing things all the way around in your life that you don't even realize. Maybe you stumble upon. And he's doing that because he loves you. And when we learn to trust the sovereign purposes of God, that his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts, there develops within us this deep peace, but also this anticipation. I wonder what you're doing now, God. I wonder how you're working. I wonder how you're going before me, knowing that God is always doing that for us. I hope that encourages your heart, and I hope that maybe even gives you the ability to delight in unanswered prayer. This weekend, we're back in the Gospel of John, chapter 8. We're going to be looking at that beautiful phrase, the truth sets you free. And we're going to look at the freedom that we have in truth and how Christ brings that to us. I hope you have an incredible week. God bless you. We're praying for you. Just love walking with Christ with our church together and for those around who come into our midweek. The Lord's blessing.